Hey folks, welcome to Magnificat Wonders. This week, we're sharing with you something of the wonders of dreams, revelation, and numbers. Linda and I are convinced that one of the main reasons God created us with not only a capacity for, but a need to dream was because He wanted to communicate with us while we sleep. After all, we sleep about a third of our lives. God doesn't want that to be wasted. He wants to be a part of it. Another cool thing about dreams is that they don't need to be complicated or elaborate to communicate something meaningful. Here's a really simple dream Linda had that illustrates that beautifully. In the dream, Linda is counting lines or tears. That's it. That's all that happens. Eventually, the lines add up to 19. End of dream. Simple enough, right? But simple can still be tricky, as you'll see in this case. So let's look at the three important elements involved. The focus is Linda. Counting is all she's doing in the dream, so counting has to be significant. Since there are 19 lines, the number 19 is obviously meaningful. So let's leave the counting part and start with the numbers, together with an admission that although numbers recur often in dreams, understanding them isn't always straightforward. In fact, entire books have been written on the meaning of numbers in the Bible, so there's a lot to say about them. But for today, we'll only be looking at a few things. The meaning of a number in dreams may be in the digits, or the combination of digits, rather than the actual number itself, or it can be in both. God only knows, which is why we need to pray and trust that revelation will be given. In this case, Linda sensed that the meaning was rooted in 19 being the combination of the numbers 9 and 10. So let's look at the meaning that corresponds to those numbers. Being the last of the digits, 9 marks an end. So it denotes the conclusion of a matter to finality, if you will. It can also refer to God's judgments. More on that a bit later. The number 10 denotes God's perfect order, such as we find in the Ten Commandments. Don't they declare and reflect God's perfect order? Of course they do. If all of humanity faithfully followed the Ten Commandments, the entire earth would be under God's perfect order. Secondly, since there are 9 digits used for counting, 10 also marks the beginning of a new cycle. The Ten Commandments ushered in a new era for the Jews, right? Just as the 10 plagues in Egypt resulted in a new beginning for the Hebrews. Looking at the account of Noah and the flood is really fascinating in this regard. Noah's generation was the 10th after the fall, and he was the one to usher in a fresh start for humanity. But recall number 9 connected to judgment, God's judgment? Well, the 9th generation after the fall came to an end because it came under God's judgment. The number 9, however, also has a very, very positive connotation, since 9 is also 3 times 3, and 3 denotes the divine perfection that we find in the Holy Trinity. The New Testament also speaks of the 9 gifts or charisms, as well as the 9 fruits of the Holy Spirit. So breaking down the number 19 from a biblical perspective gave us this meaning: God's perfect order with regards to His judgments. But what was the deal with counting all those lines to get to 19? Why not just show Linda the number 19? She's had numbers in many, many dreams before. Well, we didn't understand that until we received a revelation from the Holy Spirit, which, as you know, is always the key factor in interpreting dreams biblically. That missing link has to do with God's sense of humor and an aspect of dreams that regularly comes into play, a play on words, pun intended. The Lord will sometimes use image puns, if you will, to speak to us. So why not give that a shot? Pause the video and ask the Lord to give you the revelation. He can do that. In fact, that's what happened with Linda and I. In this case, she was given the dream, but I was given the revelation about the pun. Keep in mind that Linda was counting. What do you think the pun is? Welcome back. Did you get the revelation? Well, here it is. The Lord was saying, you can count on this. Count on what? That my judgment is spot on and will order your lives perfectly. What an incredible word of encouragement. Linda and I at the time were in the midst of a really major discernment, and the Lord was telling us to trust Him, to trust His judgment, and that His perfect order would guide and direct our lives. That word not only encouraged us then, but has done so again and again since. So, we hope you're encouraged as well. Linda's dream is, after all, a word for you as well. The Lord has your back. He has everything under His gaze and perfectly ordered for your life. Trust Him. He is eminently trustworthy and faithful, besides being all-knowing and all-powerful. A great combo, don't you think? Thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.